Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things parallel with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And today I'm super excited because we are going to look into temples and more culture, kind of right up my alley. So today we are going to look into Kashi Vishwanath Temple. If I'm pronouncing this correctly, I always have challenges when it comes to pronouncing Indian names. And we're going to look into how it actually connects all Hindus all over the world. So I'm very, very curious to dive into the video. But before we do,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, so let's look together into this temple. I'm so curious to learn whatever I can.
The Kashi Vishwanath Temple is located in Varanasi, India. Another name for Varanasi is Kashi, which comes from the word Prakash, and its name translates as City of Light or Shining City. Generally known as the spiritual capital of India, Kashi is home to the Visheshwar Jyotir Lingam. Even if you have the most basic knowledge of Hinduism, you would recognize the lingam when you see it, as it is one of the most iconic Hindu forms. The linga or lingam translate to sign, symbol, or mark, and it is a representation of Lord Shiva. The term Jyotir is derived from Jyoti, which means radiant, and the 12 Jyotir lingas are the places where Lord Shiva appeared as a fiery column of light. Do you remember that story? Lord Brahma and Vishnu were arguing as to who was the greatest, and all of a sudden a bright shaft of light appears. When they try to discover the source of this light, that's when Lord Shiva reveals himself. And the one in the Kashi Vishwanath Temple is the most auspicious. The original Kashi Vishwanath Temple was destroyed numerous times from the start of the Mughal invasions into India. The first phase of destruction started as early as 1194 CE, led by General Qutbuddin Aibak, a military commander who is believed to have destroyed thousands of murtis and temples in Kashi. Despite the destruction, the temple was rebuilt. In 1669, Aurangzeb, one of the most vicious Mughal emperors in history, ordered the destruction of the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, and in its place, he built the Gyanvapi Mosque. The name itself is of Sanskrit origin, composed of two separate words, Gyan meaning knowledge and Vapi meaning well. When you combine the two words, it means the well of sacred knowledge, symbolizing the philosophy of Lord Shiva. To show their superiority over the conquered Hindus, the Mughals left the remnants of the previous temple to serve as a reminder of the might of the Mughal Empire. And by keeping the same name, Gyanvapi, it was a slap in the face to the infidels who dared cross his path. While Hindus could not reclaim their land, Ahilya Bai Holkar, the daughter-in-law of Malhar Rao Holkar, an officer of the Maratha Empire, took it upon herself to rebuild the temple adjacent to the mosque in 1780. This is where the current Kashi Vishwanath Temple stands.
Wow.
The first petition was filed in 1936 by 3 Muslims who demanded that the full complex be declared as part of the mosque. That petition was dismissed, and an appeal in the Allahabad High Court was also dismissed in 1942. In 1991, a petition is filed asking that the temple land be handed over to the Hindu community, since the mosque was built on the remnants of the Kashi Vishwanath Temple. In 1993, a year after the demolition of the Babri Masjid, Hindus were prevented from entering the mosque complex due to tensions between Hindus and Muslims. On April 8, 2021, 5 women filed a petition in court seeking permission for daily worship of the murtis of Ma Sringad Gauri, Lord Ganesh, Lord Hanuman, and Nandi, located on the outer wall of the Gyanvapi Mosque. On May 30th, 2022, footage was released showing the discovery of the Shivlingam in the center of the mosque, where worshippers would perform ablutions, cleaning of their hands and feet before prayers. Following the release of this video and public outcry, the entire area was blocked off and no one was permitted to enter. In July of 2023, the Archaeological Survey of India ordered a scientific survey to find out whether the mosque was constructed over a pre-existing structure of a Hindu temple. On January 25th, 2024, the report was finally released, revealing many archaeological details. Engravings were found in the Devanagari script, Telugu and Kannada languages containing names such as Janardhan, Rudra, and Maheshwar, all names of Lord Shiva. Murtis of Hanuman, Ganeshji, and the Lingam were also discovered. On February 1st, 2024, after a petition to the High Court, puja was allowed to be performed in the basement of the Gyanvapi complex after 31 years.
Wow.
Even without all the archaeological evidence, the physical structure itself speaks volumes of what Hindus have had to endure.
Wow.
A place of worship destroyed and the remnants left in place for generations of Hindus to look at every day and to reflect on how powerless they were in the face of a brutal oppressor. The Shivalingam for Hindus is an icon that has endured for thousands and thousands of years. Throughout the Caribbean, the worship of the Shivalingam continued during indentureship. In Trinidad, the Patiram Trace Shivalingam Temple is one such example. This temple, located in Pinal, South Trinidad, is famous for a continuously growing Swayambhu Shivlingam. About a century ago, a man clearing bushes discovered the Shivlingam when sharpening his cutlass on a stone, which then emitted milk, causing him to lose his eyesight. After regaining sight through prayer to Lord Shiva, he devoted his life to the temple, and his family now serves as the custodians of the temple. Here in Canada, temples are packed with people on Mahashivratri. Hindus who never attended temple regularly would visit on this night. Why? To worship Lord Shiva in the form of the lingam. This worship of the Shiva lingam is present throughout the entire Hindu diaspora, and it is one of the many threads that link Hindus around the world. It is a civilizational memory that has been embedded into our psyche lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. The struggles of the Kashi Vishwanath temple is the struggles of Hindus worldwide. The same worship that we do today in Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname, Fiji, Mauritius, US, Canada, and all the countries where Hindus migrated to originate from one single source. That source is India. As a mystic spiritual tradition, the land that is Bharat is our physical connection to the spiritual and mystic realms. This is not a new idea to Hindus, for we have always found the ways to bridge the gap between the physical and the spiritual. Hinduism would not have evolved to what it is today were it not for the geography of India, its natural resources, its energy centers, and most of all, its ability to nurture a civilization for thousands of years while still progressing forwards. This is why Hindus should care about our sacred, holy sites and the work that is being done to reclaim them. Citizens of India now need to look outwards, beyond their borders, and realize you have the support of many Hindus like myself, for we realize there is no Hinduism without India. But of course, there are challenges that we need to address. A lot of us raised in the diaspora still face questioning eyes, glances when navigating Hindu spaces. Why is this?
I don't speak any native languages from India, and neither does my parents. This becomes sort of a difficult issue. When you participate in satsang, it might not be authentic enough.
The Kashi Vishwanath temple is sacred to all Hindus because of the place it holds in our civilization. The fact that it is still standing today in some form is a testament to the spirit and courage of our ancestors. This is a battle to correct the historical wrongs that an ancient civilization has had to endure. Here in the West, did we not see the same reckoning? Universities being renamed, and all across the US and Europe, work was done to reconcile the colonial past in order to move forward. Hindus outside of India need to support the fight to reclaim our sacred spaces. Educate yourself on the issues, share stories on social media, talk to other Hindus, and most importantly, become aware. To my brothers and sisters in India, continue the fight.
Wow, what a nice video. I haven't had any knowledge of the sample, but I guess every time I watch videos like that of your history, it just helps me more with the context in the comments and what you guys are saying. And you know, when it comes to Muslims versus Hindus, etc. I feel like for me, it's painting a picture. I don't know if this picture is 100% accurate because I haven't lived there, or like I have just like observed knowledge instead of understood knowledge. But it certainly does. Every time I watched it, it just really pains me that, you know, all these things that happen in your history, it feels a lot with the Mughals. Had every time I just ask myself a question in my head, like how did those people allow all this to happen? Like, you know, how? Every time. But I feel like heritage, obviously, even coming from this video, is being restored, which is really, really nice. And the Shiva Linga, I'm curious, like, why are you pouring milk over it? So for me, it's obviously I'm just trying to understand it, and I think what many people misunderstand in my videos, they're like, "Oh, you can't compare it," and it's not that I'm comparing it to you know, the West or whatever. It's my way of trying to understand and make sense of culture. So I just kind of wanted to put it out there because many people are feeling like, oh, you shouldn't be commenting and blah blah blah, but it's a failure to understand how I'm trying to make sense of the information. And for me, it's like, okay, well, you know, here in Christianity, which I feel is very different to what Christianity, you know, in your part of the world, is that you wouldn't kind of worship a cross that way. So I don't know, it's just very different. This is why it's intriguing, because even though like you would have a cross as a symbol or a fish as a symbol, you just go, you go to church and you do the church thing, but you would not go and worship a cross, you know. So this is why it's very, very interesting for me to learn about this and to try and understand how it works. And I would love for you to let me know, like, what is the worship like, or, you know, like I feel like I can't even grasp the concept. Like, you would go to a temple and you would pray to the linga, and then pour water. So is there like a ritual that's happening? I would love to know in the comments below. It's just, for me, it's just so very different, right? And not familiar. But nonetheless, very, very interesting to see how it works somewhere else. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video with me. If you did enjoy, please give a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next one. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending much, much love. Bye bye.